Welcome to Simply Living It. Today's video is dedicated to homeschooling. So I've been kind of sharing different videos every month here on my channel. Today's video is solely dedicated to homeschooling. So depending on what has brought you here or kept you here to our channel, I want to thank you so much for being here. Today we're going to talk about things that we do and things that we do not do, popular things that we don't do in our homeschool. This video was encouraged by another fellow homeschool mom, the practical homeschooler. I will link her channel down below so you can check out her video if you want. Today's video is solely me sharing with you what homeschooling actually looks like for our family, what we actually do, and what we don't do in our homeschool. This is seasonal, so there might be seasons that this would look very different for our home. For instance, when I had younger kiddos, I currently have a high schooler, a middle schooler, and an elementary aged kiddo, 3 boys. This is our 10th year homeschooling, so nothing new for us, but I can tell you that this list of things we do and don't do would look very different depending on the year. So take that into consideration as you're listening to this video, as you're listening to this list. And I would love to hear from you what you do and maybe don't do in your homeschool as well. Some of this might be a surprise, some of this might be shocking, and some of this might be obvious if you've been here for a while. Again, I think this is important. I think it's important in the world of social media, Instagram, all the perfect things that you see and hear about. It's so important to actually share what homeschooling looks like from one family to another. That's why I'm jumping on this. I feel it is so incredibly important to share. First thing we're gonna talk about is unit studies. Unit studies. We do unit studies in our homeschool. Specifically Gather Round. We have used a couple unit studies from a couple different creators. This is something we've done for the last 3 years. I am so passionate about it. These unit studies, this whole concept and idea totally changed our homeschool when I started doing this years ago, because I was a very tired and worn out and exhausted, overwhelmed homeschooling mom trying to fit in all the things, and I loved the concept and the idea of unit studies. I share so much more about that in many different videos and can go like deeper with that if you're interested. But adding unit studies to our homeschool changed everything for our homeschool. It literally changed everything. It was a huge pivotal moment for me as a homeschool mom of 3 boys. So definitely we do unit studies. They've looked a little different this year because everything has looked different for us this year. So there is a difference in that, but we do unit studies. We love unit studies. We do not specifically do nature studies. We do not plan days every week where we go out and we do some nature studies and some nature journaling and all of that kind of stuff. I've always wanted to. I think it's awesome. We just have never done it. Again, you'll find that to be the theme with this. Just because we are not doing it, I'm not dogging on it. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just what we do. And I feel partly the way God has created all of us differently, and created our children specifically for us. Like He has given them to us. So the way that I teach my children is going to be, I feel, slightly the way that God has created me to teach them. So with that, we don't do nature study. We do, however, spend almost every weekend in the mountains. We are avid hikers, hunters. We process all of our own meat. We are in nature constantly. We are outside almost every single day. We are very observant and aware of what is around us. We are all about the hunting and outdoors lifestyle, fishing, all of that stuff. My boys can skin their elk. They can pack it out. They can find their way out by a star and a mountain range in the dark. Like this is a big deal. So for us, that's what nature study looks like. So do we do a nature study curriculum? No. Do we go out and do nature journaling and all the things? No. However, we do love nature and thrive in nature. We do not do organized sports. Did you hear that? We don't do organized sports. I did growing up. I loved all the sports. Okay, not all the sports. I loved soccer. Loved soccer. I played softball. I was catcher. I've done that stuff, right? My husband did not play sports. He didn't like them at all. He would rather spend his time on the river shooting ducks or in the mountains chasing deer and elk. So that's just our family. Those are our family dynamics. Our boys do not do sports. Now, all of my boys have played sports. We have done sports. My youngest played baseball in the spring, rec baseball. We don't do football. My boys have played flag football. They all have played in the past when they were younger. Now that we're older and it takes up evenings and weekends and all of our family time, we just don't do organized sports. It's not our family. I know that might be a shock to some people, and to some people, sports are their life, and that's okay. I'm not saying one way or another whether that's right or wrong. I know there are benefits and perks to both sides, and I love watching sports. I love watching my nephews play flag football. I love watching family friends, their kids in sports. I love that. But even at home, like on TV, we don't watch sports ever. We don't even have any sports channels. Like, we will watch things on YouTube that are hunting. Like, do you see where I'm going with this? We ride dirt bikes, we hunt, we fish, we hike, we camp, we spend time together as a family. We have family dinners. That's our evenings. We cut up elk. That's what we're doing every night this week, is cutting up elk meat and processing that because we process it ourselves. That's what we do. We do not do music lessons in our homeschool. I tried teaching myself how to play the guitar because I really want to play the guitar. I love to sing. I'm not saying I can sing, but I love to sing, and I want to teach myself how to play the guitar. Well, problem being, I am left-handed and the guitar we are using is right-handed. So it's beyond me. It is beyond my understanding. I do not know how to play the guitar or the piano. I never did lessons. I was public schooled, however. We did have choir, and we all sang, but I never did an instrument or anything like that. My oldest wanted to learn how to play the guitar, and then we quickly got discouraged because I couldn't figure it out. We were having a hard time figuring it out. There are times that he'll say, I want to try and learn how to do that again, but honestly, we just never have. We've never done music in our homeschool. We do not use a specific art curriculum. We don't have days that are just devoted to art. If there is something in their curriculum that is an art project, we might do it. More times than not in our home, it will be a random afterthought in the afternoon when my kids are like, let's do an art thing. We'll get on Art Hub for Kids. I don't have it memorized. My kids would have it. They'd be able to tell you. There are random things on YouTube they will find to draw and create. We love to make homemade cards for family members, cards for neighbors, all the things. They love to do art, but we do not have a specific day set aside for art. We don't include it every day in our homeschool. That's not something we do. We also do not do a foreign language. We don't have foreign language in our homeschool. So my boys, backstory, in co-op, the Homeschool Co-op that we were part of currently, and then took a break from, and then were part of in the past, they did Spanish. I can't remember if it was 1 full year or 2 years. I feel like it was 2 years, but the teacher shifted in between, I believe. Anyway, that's neither here nor there, but my boys, my oldest boys, did do 1 or 2 years of Spanish, and that's the extent of foreign language that we've done so far in our homeschool. So we do not do foreign language. We do and are members of a Homeschool Co-op. It is not classical conversations. We do not do classical conversations. We do, however, have a co-op that we are part of. And this is a seasonal thing. This is not something I think you have to do to be a homeschool mom. I don't think you have to do it to homeschool well. I don't think it even necessarily matters to most families. For our family, we are part of co-op. It is a small town, small family co-op. At the time I'm filming this, we have 3 weeks left, and I cannot believe that. This semester has flown by. So we will then be on our winter break, where we will have, I think, time off clear until the end of January. So it's going to be amazing. It's going to be the perfect time for slowing down and resetting, seeing what homeschooling looks like through the holidays. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be different, but it's going to be awesome. So I'm really looking forward to that. But all that being said, we are part of a homeschool family co-op. We do enjoy it. We have done this seasonally. I've been a part of it in the past. We took a 2 or 3 year break, and we're part of it again because I feel that God opened that door again, and I have peace about going back. So we're loving it. It's great. It's been awesome. It has made things so simple here in our home. We do our basic curriculum pieces here at home because that's what I like to do. I like to be the deciding factor of what we're using. Co-op is an extension of that. So they do all kinds of things that I can't even begin to list here. It's 1 day a week. It is from 8:30-ish until 12-ish. So pretty, simple. There's homework and stuff like that for certain age groups. So yes, co-op, we are a part of co-op. We do family read alouds. I love reading aloud with my kids. I love picture books. I love chapter books. We currently were reading the book Pax, and then I put it in my book bag to take to the cabin, and then I just never unpacked it and haven't opened it up again to read to the boys. But we love doing read alouds. We really do. I don't know if my boys love the chapter book side of things as much as I do. The first memorable chapter book experience I have was reading Charlotte's Web with my boys. And that was a whole thing we did. We ended up doing art stuff with that. We had a breakfast. Like, it was one of those kind of themed things, if you want to call it that. And I loved that. I will never, ever, ever forget reading Charlotte's Web with my boys. That is probably the most monumental book we've read. We've grabbed some since then and read through them since then, but none of them have stuck and been as impressionable as Charlotte's Web was. So we do family read alouds. Sometimes we'll start and then we stop and then we pick it up again. We've done the Hatchet series. My boys love that so much. So yeah, we do picture books. We do read alouds together. Again, I'm not saying my kids love it and enjoy every minute of it. Most of the time they're happy when I close the book and we can move on, but it's something I love. It gives me so much joy, and to be able to do that with my boys, I know they are memories that I will cherish. And I know even if they don't right now, eventually my boys will appreciate that time that we spent together on the couch as well. We do not do morning basket any longer. Again, that's a seasonal one. Have we done morning basket? Yes. Do we now currently? No. Everything has changed. Our homeschool life looks so different now that my oldest has a job. And I'm probably going to keep saying this until I'm totally used to it, but I'm not used to that yet. This is crazy and a whole different season. But my oldest works, and he works Monday through Thursdays. So those days, you guys, these fuzzies are killing me. I don't know where they're coming from. I wonder if they're coming from my shirt. Anyway, things look different. So we don't have, because my boys are older, we don't have morning basket. However, what we do in the morning, our morning time, I don't want to call it a basket. I have a basket that sits there that has these things in it. But morning time for us is Bible time. So we get out our Bibles, everybody grabs their Bible. We have our journal that is our Bible journal, and we will do the soak method. So scripture, observation, application, and K for kneeling in prayer. I got this from Abby at Rooted in Rest. I shared that before. That's what we've currently been on, and I love it. So our morning time will be filled with that. And then if we have something that we're doing together, a unit study or something maybe we're doing together, some of my boys like to read a book, but it's not like it's a scheduled morning basket. Here's our basket that's themed and we have all these amazing things in it and we're gonna do them. That's not the case. Bible is, yes, very important. And I would like to say we do it every day and I'm perfect at it, but I'm not and we are not. So that's not the case. But very, very special and always a blessed time when we get to do that, when I get to do that with my boys. We do not do very many science experiments, guys. Shocker, maybe, because I'm a homeschool mom. You would think that maybe I like that kind of stuff. I don't. I don't like science so much. I don't like doing experiments. I don't have most of the things that we would need on a regular basis to create these experiments. So we don't do science experiments at home or really in-depth science at all. A lot of that stuff is done at co-op. So take the load off, mama. Our science is being out in the mountains hunting. It's the life skills science that we are doing. The being out and observing the mushrooms that are around, observing the trees, observing how they're growing, observing the colors, observing the elk and how observing everything about the animals that we are harvesting and processing. And there's that science, like life science, what we're doing. And then there's the science that they're learning at co-op. And then anything that I might choose to add in between, which is like next to nothing so far. We might do something specific like mammals, right? Like mammals unit study that we are currently working through with the Good and Beautiful. But since we started co-op, that has been something that has gotten put on the wayside because they're doing stuff there. So I don't see the point in adding in extra stuff at home, just like history. I have history that we wanted to do that I planned on doing that I printed out and I have all of it set out perfectly. We haven't touched it yet because they're each doing history at their own individual level at co-op right now. So it's not a curriculum-based history, but they're getting history. So that's kind of been on the back burner. And then maybe while we're on our break, like Christmas break, for co-op, I can introduce that history that I want to do here for that season. I don't know. I don't want to double up and do all that crazy chaos. I've done that many times in our homeschool and it will suck the peace and joy right out of it. So I don't want to do that, but that is a possibility depending on how things are going to look and how they're going to play out, because I love unit studies so much. And I love that, just getting my kids together and being together. I love and thrive in that kind of environment. We do not do manipulatives, chore charts, planners. We don't. In this season, if there's something that needs to be done, I tell my boys, hey, you're in charge of dishes, you're in charge of the floors, you're in charge of bathrooms, whatever it looks like. We don't have an actual like checklist. I mean, I've seen moms with like those tri-fold menus where their kids have all these things. That's awesome and beautiful and wonderful. But in my home, I just can't stay on top of it. I can give them a chore list and it'll be good for a week. And then I forget to rotate chores. And then we're using the old list and it just never stuck. It was something that never stuck with me. So it's just day by day, hey, you're in charge of laundry today. You're in charge of the floors. And they know when they get up, they just, at this point, because they're older, they kind of know or should know what's expected of them. Do they always do it and do it well? No. Again, that goes without saying. However, that's just not something we do. We don't have planners or any of that kind of thing. I am considering getting my oldest a planner or like a little book where he can keep his schedule a little bit, because I think it's important for him to learn how to manage his time better. Now that he does have a job, he's learning that he has X amount of hours a day to get his homeschooling done before he has to go to work. So he's learning a whole new bunch of life skills right now. Just a couple more for you. Things that we don't do, things that we do. We don't do typing. Guys, I'm so sorry. And I guess I don't even need to apologize. I have tried and tried and tried to get typing to stick. We will start a program and then we end it. And we will start a program and we'll end it. And I don't know if it's because it's on the computer, if it's out of sight, out of mind. I don't know, but I have not been able to stick with typing. But don't take that as my kids don't use the computer, because my kids very much use the computer. They use it for different things, like if they're typing up something from IEW, they will use the computer. If they're typing up something for driver's ed, if they're researching for driver's ed, if they're doing Homeschool Co-op homework and they need to research something online, they're very much using the computer, but a formal typing, like learning how to properly type, they are not. We don't do that. I guess we'll cross that bridge maybe when I'm filling in extra things. I don't know. We just don't. There are times my youngest is like, oh mom, I want to do typing. So we'll pull something up like typing club. But for the most part, no, we don't do typing. It's not a formal part of our day. It's not something we add in. It's just not there. It hasn't stuck. We do not have a strict schedule. We are a loose and flowy homeschool family. And what I mean by that is we do not homeschool 5 days a week. It looks different every week on what days we do homeschool. And we don't have a strict time that we start. We usually like to start between 8 and 9. And I usually like to end between 11 and 12. We do typically, depending on the age, because I have 3 boys that I'm homeschooling. Obviously, homeschooling, the day looks longer for my high schooler because he's a freshman. So it's gonna look longer. He has more workload. There's more expected of him. That comes with time, comes with age. My youngest can be done with his homeschooling usually within an hour. And we can do that. If we sit down and we just get going, not including his co-op homework, he can be done usually in an hour. He's 4th grade. The curriculum we're using is it is what it is. We follow what it has lined out for the day and we move on. So for my 4th grader, he can be done within an hour. My 6th grader, the time goes up a little bit. And then of course, my 7th grader, he's a 7th grader. My 7th grader, the time goes up a little bit. And then for my 9th grader, obviously his stuff is the longest to complete. But I try to get all of his stuff done before he leaves for work. I wanna have time together in the morning as a family. I don't want to rush things. I don't want mornings to be stressful and chaotic. I want to have time to just be together. We're still trying to find that groove. I'm not going to come on here and say I have figured it out, because I have not. I still have not found that perfect groove with getting him to work and managing our home and time and building that bond and that connection, when I have him with me. So it looks very different and I'm still unfolding that, but I will share more about that if you're interested in that. It's been a season, it's been different. So we do not have a strict schedule. We do homeschool within 1 to 4 hours every day when we homeschool on homeschool days. We can get it done within 4 hours, like 4 hours max. I don't want to go over that. My kids don't want to go over that. It's not necessary in our home. That's when the shutting down happens for us. That's when we start to shut down. Now, I want you to know this is our 10th year homeschooling. Right now, this is 10 years. So this has not been how it always looked for us. I have pushed, I have had those crappy, crummy days. I've had those days where I wonder why in the world have I decided to homeschool my kids? I have had all those thoughts and things too. So please, if you're new here and you haven't caught those videos where I've shared those struggles with you, go back and check some of those videos out. And I will also be hoping to share some more of that with you in the future, because there are so many of you who have said you are burnt out, you are struggling, you need help. How are you doing this still? So many things. So I would love to come out and just kind of encourage you in that way and be a cheerleader behind you, just rooting you on in your journey, because we all need that. We need that encouragement to keep going. There's so many times I wanted to give up and walk the other way and send them to public school, because in the moment that would be easier. Yes. It would be easier for me in some ways. Yes. Not that one is right or wrong, one or the other. I know personally for us, this is what God has for our family. That is why I continue to do it. Not on my strength, but the strength of the Lord, because guys, I'm just human, and I have failed many, many, many times. So still homeschooling. This is our 10th year. It gets easier in some ways and it gets way harder in other ways. Ran out of space on my memory card, so I had to adjust everything. Okay, I need to wrap this up. What was I talking about? Fun Fridays. Fridays are usually the day that I am a taxi cab mom, and I drive my boys to all their lawn mowing jobs and get them all the places they need to be as we prepare to head away to our mountain retreat. So usually Fridays are a day of chaos. They are not a super, super fun day for us. So there's that. If you don't do Fun Fridays, girl, I'm with you. If you don't do all the beautiful themed nature studies and bundles and all the mega bundles and this and that, like, I want to be that mom. I want to be that mom who does all those things, but I cannot be that mom who does what I want to do and what I'm passionate about and then force all the other things, because it's not me. I'm not that mom. I know that. I've tried it. I have tried all the things. I've tried doing all the things, adding in all the extras, been there, done that. It was not worth it for me, for my boys. Yes, we add in unit studies. Yes, we add in the things we want to learn about, the things that we're excited to learn about. I love creating that well-rounded environment, that well-rounded home learning environment for my kids. However, I do not push or force anything except that stinking algebra that they have to do. That one is giving me some fits right now. Not the kid, algebra, math. I hate math. Math haters club right here. I do not like math at all. I remember algebra, but not well enough to help him with his work. I don't like math. So there's that random tidbit. However, this is how we homeschool. I felt it was important and encouraging to share this, because I think that while we all come out and share a day in the life and what it looks like to homeschool 3 boys, I can share that with you. But I think it changes things when you can actually see, wow, this is what they're doing and what they're not doing. These are things that you hear about among homeschoolers and among homeschool families when people are just sharing little tidbits. But I think it's important to take everything into perspective and with a grain of salt. You might see us doing really well and exceeding in this area, but that's because we're not doing XYZ over here. It's gonna look different for every single person, for every single family. I say that so many times. If I had $1 for every time I said that, I would be a millionaire, because it's so true and it applies to every area and avenue of life. And I just felt when I saw the Practical Homeschoolers video on this, I just felt like that was something I wanted to touch on also. So I want to thank her for sharing her video. I'll tag her channel down below in case you want to check it out, but she was the inspiration for this specific video. I've shared all of this in separate videos. If you've been here long enough to gather all these little tidbits, you would know these things about our family, but I felt that it was important to share a whole video dedicated on the things that are popular, the things you will hear moms talk about among the homeschool communities, and those things that we do and the things that we don't do. It's important. It's important to put it all into perspective and to keep it all in perspective. And I feel no guilt or shame in this point of our homeschool journey, sharing the things that we flat out don't do, and I don't plan on doing them. Doesn't mean we won't, but I don't plan on doing them. Not that they're bad or that any end of it is bad. It's ours. It's our journey, just like yours is your journey, and you will do it your way. That's just the way it is. We're going to do it the way that we're going to do it, that fits our home, that fits our family, that fits our schedule, that fits our child's needs. That's what matters, and that's what's important, not how I do it and that you follow, not that someone else does it a certain way and you follow their way. It's a beautiful thing, all of it. And this is how we do it. This is how we homeschool. This is what we do and what we do not do in our homeschool. Thank you so much for joining me in today's video. This was a long chit chat. I need to go get my grocery pickup now and get ready to pick up my son from work and all the things. So I appreciate you being here. If you have not already, please consider giving this video a thumbs up if you find value in this content and if this is encouraging for you. I would love to hear from you. I would love feedback. You have no idea how much your words mean to me and your comments and all of it. Thank you for watching. Please consider clicking that subscribe button if you have not already. I share all things homeschool, motherhood, life, and just sharing some of our slow living minimalist journey with you guys. That's kind of where I'm at right now and what God has been putting on my heart. So thank you for being here. I will catch you in our next video.